Most of you know Pittsburgh as the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it is also a great place to visit, and it has always been a well-known city even before their sports. In the 1800s, Pittsburgh was known as a great industrial center for many natural resources, along with its steel production started by Andrew Carnegie. While being a well-known city, Pittsburgh has also had many hidden gems. If you never made plans to visit the wonderful city of Pittsburgh, you most definitely should go visit these places. I'll start out with places that you most definitely should eat at. First is the Conflict Kitchen. The Conflict Kitchen is exactly what it sounds like, a kitchen that only serves food from places that the United States is currently in conflict with. They do this to allow their customers to not only eat food from countries they may not have in the first place, but also to expose them to the different cultures that they may not know much about. It allows us to open our minds to different ideas that we may not have thought about before. Next is a Meals Lounge. This restaurant was first opened in the early 1960s, and it has been open ever since. They're most famously known for their fish and Reuben sandwiches and their large portion sizes. But they also have one at Pittsburgh Staples, a salad topped with french fries. I know that the purpose of a salad is to be healthy, but this is just a Pittsburgh thing, and if you ever go, you most definitely have to try it. It's the best thing ever. Another great place to eat, and a personal favorite for me, is the Stuffed Pierogi Bar. If you've never eaten a pierogi, you most definitely have been missing out. Think of ravioli, but stuffed with mashed potatoes instead of cheese. Sounds pretty good. The Stuffed Pierogi Bar has many unique flavors of pierogies, including mac and cheese, buffalo chicken, and my personal favorite, the spring roll. Pierogies have always been a big thing in Pittsburgh. At PNC Park, after the fifth inning of every Pirates game, the Pirates pierogies run the 280-yard Great Pierogi Race. Lastly, and the thing I remember eating quite a bit of while in Pittsburgh, is gyros, or some of you pronounce it gyros. Mike and Tony's Gyros is a family-owned business who has been very successful and has been able to expand themselves to 4 different locations across the city. If that doesn't explain how good they are, I don't know what else will. Now that I've made you all hungry, I'm going to talk about some of the different museums you could go visit when seeing Pittsburgh. The first museum you should visit is probably the Big Mac Museum. Yes, as in the McDonald's Big Mac. The Big Mac was actually created in 1967 by Jim Delgatti in the Pittsburgh area. Although it is called a museum, it's rather small. It shows the milestones of the Big Mac, some displays of vintage toys, wrappers, packages, kids' meals, all those types of things. And the museum is actually located inside of a McDonald's location, so while it makes you hungry for a Big Mac, you can run right up to the counter and get one. The most unusual museum is Bicycle Heaven. Bicycle Heaven is the world's largest bicycle museum and shop. It all started when the owner, Craig Morrow, found a bicycle someone threw away, and he repaired it and resold it. So now he just collects antiques and collectible bicycles. He has over 3,000, and as someone who does not know how to ride a bike, I did still find this museum very interesting to go see. So you should definitely check it out. Another great museum to show you the history of Pittsburgh is the Tour and Mining Museum. As you can probably guess, the museum allows you to experience what it was like to be a coal miner in the 1850s. The guides are real coal miners who know everything there is to know about coal mining. The tour shows the many different methods we have used for coal mining from past to present day. It's a great educational experience, but it's also very fun. Finally, if you love looking at art like I do, the Andy Warhol Museum is the place to be. Andy Warhol is one of the world's most known artists, and although you may not recognize his name, you most certainly should recognize his famous painting of the Campbell soup can. The Warhol Museum is the largest single artist museum in the country, having 7 floors worth of installations, reproductions, and educational exhibits dedicated to Warhol himself. The Warhol Museum has many interactive features that keep you entertained throughout all 7 floors. Now that we've discussed food and museums, let's talk about some of the mostly free, and interesting nature places that you can go visit. First is Canton Avenue. You may be wondering why you would want to visit some random street. I wondered the same thing. Canton Avenue is actually the steepest street in the United States and possibly even in the world. For every 100 feet, there's a 37-foot elevation gain. Sure, you may not want to just go see a street, but if you want a real challenge, you should try and bicycle up the street. Since 1983, Pittsburgh has held their annual Dirty Dozen bike race, which brings you to bike over Pittsburgh's 13 steepest hills, and Canton Avenue is actually included in those hills. Another strange place to visit is Gravity Hill. The name kind of explains itself. The hill seems to defy everything you may have learned about gravity. Once you get to the stop sign, you're supposed to put your car in neutral and take your foot off the brake, and you will roll uphill. Although you may not actually be rolling uphill, it will most certainly look and feel like you are. Just don't forget to always make sure that there are no other cars coming before you test this out. Next is the Pittsburgh's Botanic Garden. This has only been open to the public since 2015, but it is a beautiful place. Many of the trees and shrubs were planted in 2010 to attempt to restore the land after decades of mining and coal production and steel production and all sorts of things that just killed the environment. There's not much explaining I can do about this, but just know that it's a beautiful sight to see. Finally, if you're looking for a very small hike to a waterfall, Buttermilk Falls is the place to go. This is not quite in the city of Pittsburgh, but it's not far from it, and it is definitely worth the drive. The hike to the falls is only about 5 minutes, so perfect for almost anyone. A nice thing about Buttermilk Falls is that it is very easy to get to the back of the falls for a cool view. Pittsburgh is the Steel City, and its hidden gems are what makes it great. Now that you know about the great places to eat and see, I hope that this has convinced you to go visit the city of Pittsburgh right now.